start.
Hey everyone, welcome to the HEAT team call tonight. I'm Sandy Abrams-Tabola, one of the HEAT NMDs, and just really excited to be here tonight and to bring this speaker. Just a tiny bit about me. I was not looking for a business. I was a youth pastor, happy with my life, but had some pretty serious health issues and with me and my family. And so I was looking for a way to get us healthy. And I found Juice Plus. It made sense to me because it was food. And we started taking it and I had more energy than I knew what to do with. My son got healthy. We all started eating more fruits and veggies. So I could not keep my mouth shut. So I reluctantly became a rep and just found that it was so fun helping others get healthy and helping other moms be able to stay home with their kids. And even as a single mom, 4 years later, I was able to still stay home with mine. And then becoming a national marketing director, just being able to have the freedom to design my days and to be able to now visit and be a hands-on grandma is just the best, and to help others have that hope too. So that's a great segue into introducing our speaker. I fell in love with this woman up at Mars and it just got to hear about her story. And then we went to Branson. There was a group of us and we got to hear her. And I just am so excited for all of you to hear this. She's from Jacksonville, Florida, Deanne Roes, and she lives with her husband, Brian, and our 3 kids. She was a hairdresser and a private music teacher. And thanks to the Youth Plus company, she's been able to stay home and homeschool her kids for the last 7 years, which is awesome. And then what was just happening as I was meeting her in Mars was that her husband, she and her husband Brian worked the business together. And as they made national marketing director, I think it was the next month, anyway, he was able to retire from school teaching, and now they're able to work together. The title of her message is The Land of More Than Enough.
Deanna, we have you on the big screen right now, so we're ready to record. I got you on what's called Spotlight, so we're ready.
Let me move my computer back.
No, you're beautiful.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you all for having me.
We're happy to have you.
So yes, it was so much fun to meet you, Sandy, at Mars, and we spent a couple of very fun, intense days together. And then again at Branson, I didn't even realize that you were going to be at Branson until after it was over. And I was so happy to see you there. So after I went to National Marketing Director last October, and then meeting Sandy at Mars, she asked me if I would come on and do a little story for you. And I'm so happy to do this. And I just want to thank you all for, number one, showing up to your weekly Voxer chat with your team. That's really says a lot about you. And especially when there's a guest speaker on that you may have never met before, you don't know what they're going to say or if it's going to be worth your time. But just thank you for being on here and listening to my story, not knowing what I'm going to say and if it's going to change your life at all. But hopefully I will be able to bring some sort of a value to you guys. And actually what I'm going to do is I'm just going to share my screen with you and go through kind of a little short version of my talk that I did for Branson Boot Camp. And because it's the simplest thing to do and it's already done. So let me go ahead and share my screen. And I'm not going to be able to see any of your faces. And so if you have a question or anything like that, you'll have to get with me afterwards. Okay. So Nikki and Sandy, can you see my screen?
We can.
Okay, let's do it. So I heard about Juice Plus 10 years ago from my pediatrician. Her name is Dr. Valerie Miles. And this is us actually at a fashion show a few years ago. And what I love about this business is that it takes people that you meet and turns you into lifelong friends. Somebody had recommended her to me as a pediatrician, and so I had just moved to town. And I asked her about a multivitamin one day when we were having a well check. And I'm sure a lot of you know that Dr. Miles is a very beloved national marketing director in the Juice Plus family. She's a holistic pediatrician. And that's why I was attracted to her. I wasn't necessarily a super actively healthy person. I was eating lots of bacon cheeseburgers and drinking lots of soda in those days. But I had kids, and I grew up on a farm where we ate a lot of fruits and vegetables. And frankly, I think that's probably what kept me alive this long. But I thought, we live in suburbia, and I don't have access to that type of produce anymore. So in my mind, I thought vitamin. So I asked her about a Flintstone. Should I get some Flintstones on the way home to give to my kids? And she said, no, you want them to eat vegetables. And in my mind, I'm like, well, I know we don't. So that's why I'm asking you about a Flintstone, because I'm thinking if you don't eat well, you take a vitamin. But she was so kind. She was actually on her way out the door from our visit, and she sat down and she said, let me explain something to you. You need to eat fruits and vegetables, but there's another option that you may not know about, and it's called Juice Plus. She says real whole fruits and vegetables in capsules, and I was totally struck by that because I thought, oh my gosh, the convenience of a capsule or a chewable and the goodness of the garden from home. Like, you can't even beat that. So it took me all of 3 seconds to see the value of Juice Plus. But what she did is she sent me home with a CD to listen to. And again, this was 10 years ago. And I listened to a doctor talk about how 16 and 17-year-old girls were coming into her practice with breast cancer back in those days. And I just realized that I had 2 roads in front of me. And one was going to lead to a long life where I felt good and I did everything I could to stay that way. And the other road was going to lead to where I was prematurely old and tired, which frankly is what I had kind of, grown up with. And just a high stress levels with parents and just working. I got on Plus. We got on Juice Plus. We got it and we wanted it right away. But the problem is that we didn't have enough. And I'm just going to go through a couple of these slides. So this is a picture of my 3 kids 10 years ago. And, for me it was, I wanted to be healthy and I wanted them to be healthy, but I'm not into cooking and I never really have been. And I was down in the kitchen because 3 times a day plus 3 snacks a day, they just kept coming and coming. And so either I could just throw like goldfish and pretzels at them all day and go down that road I didn't want to go down, or Pop-Tarts or whatever, or I was going to have to spend a lot of time prepping good food for them. So the reason I love Juice Plus, you guys, is because, we have to see nutrition as a part of the machine in our household. We have to have the machine running smoothly. In order for us to be healthy, you have to have your laundry machine providing you with clean clothes. You have to have your financial machine providing you with money each month. And you have to have your nutritional machine so that you can stay healthy. And I feel like Juice Plus is a great way to outsource your nutritional machine, because I don't have time or desire to be in the kitchen juicing every day. I don't have the money to be buying all those fruits and vegetables. And I don't have the interest in trying to choke it down or forcing my kids to do the same thing. And so that's what Juice Plus does. And it got me out of the kitchen. And so as we got on Juice Plus, we were able to live a healthier lifestyle. And along the way, we learned that eating bacon cheeseburgers 3 or 4 times a week probably isn't the best idea. And this is a picture of Dr. William Sears, who helped us learn to limit the sticky stuff, he says, and eat more salmon and smoothies and all those salads and types of things. And so we've had a great culture of health in our family, to where, eating healthy most of the time is not just a trend, but it's a way of life. And so I just want to encourage you, if you have little kids, stay the course with them and, provide them with great options for the things that are often in life, and you will not regret it. And here they are today. And so it turns me to my business story. So, my Juice Plus business story starts way before I heard about Juice Plus. This is a picture of me graduating high school. And I did fine in high school, and I went on to college, and I was a French horn major. I'm the one with the long blonde hair in the middle. But even during high school, I wasn't happy. I wasn't happy because the way that we were taught to do well is by getting good grades, and good grades were hard for me. And I had to work really hard for them. And I did not like the options that I was presented with after I graduated from high school, because we were taught that you had to get good grades, you had to go to a good college, and then you had to go out and get a good job, and you had to work for 40 or 50 years, and then hopefully retire. And the prospect of doing that made me just like want to cry and throw up at the same time, because I did not want to have a desk job. I didn't want to have a boss. But the problem is we weren't taught any differently in school. We were not taught about entrepreneurship. We were taught to own our own business. So I actually left school very disillusioned and very disheartened. And I did 2 years of college where I tried my best, but even all of the majors that I had 2 or 3 majors, still had the end destination of a job. And I just wasn't happy. So what I wound up doing was I got my hairdressing license, and I worked for myself. I had a hair salon in my house, and I worked for myself. And I did that for a couple of years, and I was very, very happy. And then we moved from New York to Florida. My husband is a teacher. And I want to show you this picture because we had small children when we moved here to Florida, and I did not want to work. I wanted to be the one that raised my own kids. And above and beyond that, I wanted to raise my kids, but I also wanted to be in charge of my own future. And so I stopped being a hairdresser, and my husband got a great job as a music teacher in a private school in Jacksonville. And on the outside, every day, he would smile, put on his dress shirt, get his teaching bag, and become Mr. Roes, right? And get in the car and drive to school. But on the inside, this is what we looked like. Because even with that great teaching job, we did not have enough money to pay our bills. And every month, we were putting groceries on credit cards and stressed out. And he was working so hard, and he was doing extra work after school. We were doing things in the summertime, but it just wasn't enough. And the thing of it is, you guys, is I felt so trapped, because I felt like, is this the way it's always going to be? If I want to be the one that raises my own children, what are our options? Does he go back to school and get another master's degree and incur more debt? Does he go into administration so that he gets a pay raise, but he has to work all year round and doing something that he doesn't like to do? So during that time, something rose up inside of me that just said, oh no, I am not going to have this life. I am not going to be this way. And, if we take this back to the topic of the land of more than enough, I want to explain that to you and what that means to me. It's actually a biblical concept, to where if you go into the book of Exodus and you read about the story of the children of Israel, they were in 3 different locations over the course of those times. They started out in the land of not enough, which was Egypt. And then they moved into the land of just enough, which was they spent 40 years in the wilderness. And then they moved into the land of more than enough, where they were able to have what they needed and be, have a great life, but also they were called to be a blessing to the world around them. And I grew up in what's called the land of not enough. And to me, what that means is it's not the same for everybody. It has to do with 4 different things. It has to do with time, money, options, and opportunity, right? So when I grew up, we never had enough money. And because my dad had to work so hard, we never had enough time. And because of that, when he was growing up, he had no options or opportunity, but his way of doing what he had to do to provide me with options and opportunity was swiping his credit card. Like that picture of that French horn that you saw back there, credit card. All the trips and the things that he was sacrificed so much for so that I could do and have a good upbringing and follow my potential and my talent was all incurred debt. And so I spent part of my early adulthood where we didn't have enough money, we didn't have enough time. And you know, for some people, this looks like different things. If you have a really good job and it pays you a lot of money, but yet you're working such long and hard hours where you don't have the freedom, like you have income, but it's at a very high cost, and that's time. Another way that you could be in the land of not enough is that if you have a good job, it may be flexible, so you have time, and it may pay you well, but it's something that you don't enjoy. You don't feel like you're making a difference. It turns you into a person that you don't like because of the stress level, or you're not moving in the direction of meeting your potential. You're just doing the job to pay the bills. That's also the land of not enough, you guys. And so this picture is so characteristic of so many people that we know. And this is my story. What are things really like behind closed doors for your friends? Okay, they may have the fancy cars and the kids in private school, maybe not, I don't know. But what are they really stressed out? The land of not enough may be not enough dreams. You know, for me, I thought living paycheck to paycheck was like rich. You know, people that actually had enough money to make it from one paycheck to the next, that was like, they were well off. Okay. So when I joined the Juice Plus company, I saw this as a way to get from out of that land of not enough, but being able to do it on my terms. My terms during nap time and at night time, and it was only $50 to join. I mean, seriously, I remember driving to my friend Celine's house with my $50 check, wondering if it was going to be good, like the check, if it was going to be good. But it was on my terms that I could start to design my life. And so that's what we went and did. And you know what? We moved from the land of not enough into the land of just enough. And how it feels to finally have enough money to pay the bills on time and put food on the table. Are you kidding me? It was like, it was amazing. And I even remember when my income got up to the point to where I could go into the grocery store and I could put whatever I wanted to in the grocery cart and not think twice about it. I felt like amazing. So I can go back to those moments in time where I picture myself thinking, oh my gosh, I can have more than beans and rice. Yay! And I'm paying for it in cash. I mean, it was such a big deal. And this is real life, you guys. This is what we're meant to do. We're meant to help people get from the land of not enough into the land of just enough. And that's okay. Some people want to stay there. You know, some people want to just make $500 a month with Juice Plus. That's fantastic. Because you know what? For them, that means that they can sleep better at night. They're not having to clock in somewhere, and they're able to maintain their current standard of living. If that's what somebody wants to do, that's awesome. So that's what the land of just enough is. And so here's the thing is I believe that we all need a financial education. That's what I lacked in school. I lacked a financial education. I didn't know that I could own my own business. And I think that kind of reminds me of Juice Plus and the medical system. Wouldn't it make sense for doctors to learn about nutrition as part of their medical training? Or wouldn't it make sense for students to learn how to be financially independent at school? But we weren't. We didn't. And so that's what our job is. We have to teach people that want to learn how to be financially independent. I started reading Robert Kiyosaki, and it totally opened my eyes. You know, once I was in the land of just enough and I wasn't worried about how I was going to pay my bills anymore, I started looking towards the future of what do I actually want, where do I want to go? And so really what we were taught in school to get good grades, get a good job, work for 40 years and then retire, that's part of a system that is not as effective anymore. I mean, I'm just here to tell you that's industrial age thinking. We're not in the industrial age anymore. We're in the information age. And if you want to thrive in today's economy, you have to challenge the status quo and get the financial education necessary to succeed. That's just the way it is. Now, I'm here to tell you that this chart is for you to see where you are. Some people are happy where they are. And I'm not here to try to convince somebody that they need to go out and quit their job and build a Juice Plus business. I'm here to find the people that are unhappy with where they're at, okay? So if you look at this cash flow quadrant, it has 4 ways to produce income. This is a Robert Kiyosaki concept, and it's brilliant. You can be an employee and you have a job, and you exchange time for money. You can be self-employed, where you own a job, like a landscaping company, or you're a tailor or something like that. You're still exchanging time for money, but you're doing it yourself. This also applies to specialists, like doctors, lawyers, people that are very highly paid for their specialists, but they're still exchanging time for money. Now you can come over to the B and I side, which I think is fun. A business owner, you own a system where people work with you, and that creates money. And you can also be an investor where your money works for you. So Juice Plus falls in the category of the B. If you've decided to make Juice Plus your plan A in life, you want it to be your primary source of income, and you want to really come into this network marketing profession and be a full-time network marketer, you are in the B quadrant. If you're at a point in your life where Juice Plus, you want it to give you some extra spending cash and you have a customer base, then you are in the S quadrant, and that's fine. You're exchanging time to get those customers, but when you decide to build a team, you become a business owner, okay? So this is where we were. This is a picture of my husband as an employee teaching piano lessons. He was a music teacher. He exchanged time for money. He had a boss. This was me doing hair. This was like 12 years ago when I was 22 and super blonde. Exchanging time for money, but I was doing it on my terms. And now this is us today. These are our people that are working with us, and they are creating wealth for me and for my children. And I cannot wait till I get to be an investor. That's coming. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. And in this business, you have to learn to be an inspirational, mission-driven leader, someone who can train people to be successful, even without the short-term gratification of a large income. If you can do that, you can do almost anything. I read this passage from his book, Second Chance, that was published earlier in 2016. And this is right when we were coming up on NMD. And I thought, I can't do anything. It was such an encouragement. Now, with the Juice Plus company, we do help people have a good, positive financial experience right away. But let me show you what I mean by this. Okay, this is a graph. I'm not a numbers person at all. And as you can tell, there are no numbers on this chart, which makes me very able to read it to you. So if you look on the left-hand side, it says annual earnings. And then on the bottom, it says time. This is time passed, okay? So if you look here on the blue line, if you have a job, you start day one at a certain income level, a certain salary, a certain hourly rate. And as time passes, that may gradually get higher. And you have to exchange a lot of time over a period of time to get a higher income. Now with Juice Plus, you start at the bottom on day one with an income of 0. Now you're gonna go out and you're gonna do your HLP, you're gonna do your 2,000 plus, you're gonna get some bonuses, you're gonna get a qualified business. Chances are you're putting in a lot more time than you are earning income. You know what I mean? Like if you spend 20 hours a week for a month and your first paycheck is, you know, maybe a couple $100, you're not getting paid very well hourly. But as time goes on and people start reordering their Juice Plus, you start building a team, look at how that line goes way, way up. And if you see where the black dotted line comes in contact with where those lines intersect, okay, that's when your Juice Plus income meets and starts to surpass your regular hourly job. And where my family is right now, we are at that point today. Okay, so my husband just retired from 15 years of teaching because we simplified our life as much as we could, and we brought our expenses down, and our Juice Plus paycheck, along with our health benefits as a new national marketing director, was able to meet, and it has started to exceed my husband's teaching income. And you know what? He could have stayed at his job and that paycheck would have gone up gradually over time. But now, since we're doing Juice Plus, we don't have to trade time for dollars anymore, and it's going to be exponential. And I can't tell you how good it feels. Like, I try to pretend like I'm really sad, but the first couple weeks after he retired, I would go into Target and we would run into his colleagues everywhere and parents of his students, and the colleagues would say to me, "I'm so jealous. I'm so jealous that he doesn't have to come back in the fall and I do." Even parents, oh my gosh, you guys, like a friend of mine that lives down the street, she and her husband are both very successful attorneys. And she said, "I am so jealous." And I just looked at her and I was like, well, we're hiring. You know, what else can you say? You know, it's like she lives on the river, which is very prestigious in my town. They have a beautiful home and private school and all of that. But you know what she said to me one time? She said, "You know what, Deanne? I'm in my 40s and I work all the time. And this is not what I signed up for." She said, "If I could, I would give it all up and live in a tent." And you know, and here's me on the other end of things, sometimes feeling self-conscious. I mean, a couple years ago, before we got I drive a Honda Pilot now, which is my B car, if you understand that meaning. But before, I drove like a 2002 Ford Freestar, and it was magenta red. And I remember driving that thing into into Publix or the grocery store, or into the school parking lot to drop Brian off, and I'd be surrounded by like Escalades and Navigators and stuff. And I remember complaining to Brandy Foss, my friend who's a national marketing director, saying, "Oh, I feel so self-conscious about this old van." She said, "You know what, Deanne?" She cut me right off. She said, "You know what? The fact that you have that van and yet you have all of your time to yourself, you control what you do every day, you're making a difference, you are the one that taught your children how to read and not anyone else, makes it so that that minivan is worth $1 million. So what does true freedom look like to you? So I'm just going to speed through the rest of these. So listen, you guys, there are people in your life that need your help. It doesn't matter what's going on the outside. You've got to dig deep and look on the inside. Because what if Dr. Miles hadn't had the courage to talk to me about Juice Plus? You know what I mean? What if she thought, "Oh, I don't want to look like I'm trying to make money off of my patients, blah, blah, blah." No, she was thinking of me buying Flintstones at the store, and here we are today with like the ability to touch thousands of lives. So that is what the land of more than enough is like. Now that we have this incredible time freedom and we have this growing income and we have the options and the opportunity to do so much, that's what it's like. And I want to share with you a couple things about what this means to me. So I used to get paid to make people bread. I learned how to make bread, and people would pay me to make bread for them, and I would sell it. But you know what? Now, because of my Juice Plus business, I can do that for free to be a blessing to people. This is me. We used to be on staff at our church, and now we get to just show up and help out without needing to have anything because of it. I used to teach music lessons, and now I can teach kids how to do what they want to do and not need to get paid for it. I used to get paid to hold babies and to watch children, and now I can hold all the babies on my Juice Plus team and just be available for people, you guys. Do you get this? And I used to get paid to do hair, and now I can do hair. This is me helping Dr. Miles get ready for the Elton Awards with Juice Plus a couple of years ago. And I can show up even, you know why I was late to this call? Is because we have some friends that are moving to Italy for 3 months. And I drove out to their house and I gave everybody a round of haircuts before they get on the plane in a couple days. And it's because I could. And I didn't, you know, they didn't pay me anything. It doesn't matter. So listen, you have to think about the best things about yourself. Like, what do you love to do the most? What do you cherish about yourself? What are your gifts and talents? What makes you excited? And then you have to think about, what would I be doing if I didn't have to earn an income? Okay? So here's a quick story. I have a friend who is an attorney, and she was contemplating starting a Juice Plus business, but she said, I love my attorney's job, but you know, I love it. And I said, why do you love it? She said, because I'm at the top of my game. I'm in the courtroom. I get to help people. And I said, well, what would you do if you didn't have to do that? What would you do if you didn't have to go to work every day? She said, oh, I'd open up an animal shelter. And I was like, oh my gosh, are you kidding me? So you just got to start thinking beyond what you're doing every day. This is where we're going. We're going to give lots of money away. We're going to volunteer lots of time. We're going to help a lot of people. And so that's what I mean about all this. So you guys, thank you for listening to my story. And I hope that this encourages you to think about the land of more than enough.
Thank you so much, Deanne. Just love this. The second time it was even richer. So
hey, Deanne, can you, oh good, stop, perfect.
there we go. Great. I want everyone to take yourself off mute and tell Deanne thank you. I wish we had time for a few questions.
Thanks, Deanne.
Thanks, Deanne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was amazing.
Fabulous.
You're welcome.
You all rock. Massive love.